Good risings, dear family. Wagwan, Ola, Konnichiwa, and Shalom to every melanated man, woman, and child on this planet, aka all things which harbor the power of the universal soul's spirit of life. And more importantly, to all of ye which bear the mark of the universal spirit's visible soul skin. I am just a man with a conviction treading wisely. What is my conviction and how wisely? My firmly held belief and or firmly held opinion is that God will have his world, God will have his people moving God's speed forever. Soul speed, one belief, and one foundation. Wisely, I have the knowledge of the soul's truth, experience with the spirit's ways, as well as the good and balanced judgment of them both. Now, I desire to place my knowledge and experience of the soul and the spirit within the ethos of your world in order to properly manifest the principles of my conviction into the minds, hearts, and actions of the people by any moral means necessary using what can be known as Christ logic, or hyper logic, or balanced logic. Check these words out. I want to make this video to tell you all how hatred is a metaphor. I'm going to explain how and why I say those words specifically. How is hatred a metaphor? Before I go in, I'm going to stage these words real quick. Remember, your world primarily sucks. Your world primarily sucks because you all want everything around you to live in hatred. You primarily want these three things, and only these three things, for every single person on the planet to live, suffer, and die. And in that order. Before I move on, I also want to say these words out loud. Always remember, never forget, the enemy is a problem and a solution simultaneously. The enemy is the beginning and the ending simultaneously. The enemy is something that will give you something and then tell you you can't use it simultaneously. See where I'm going with this? Tell you that you can use something or give you something and tell you can use it, but then tell you can't use what it gave you at the same time or concomitantly or simultaneously. Three ways to say that. The enemy is a yes and a no simultaneously. The enemy is a poison and a potion concomitantly. The enemy is a lie and a truth at the same time. And always, never anything different. Never. It never changes. Malachi 3:6. The book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 6. The enemy never changes, ever. Moving forward, though, hatred is a metaphor. I'm going to explain how and why. Now, another thing I want to say before I continue with this explanation. Now, we have words, right? We have words. Words that we use to label and describe how certain things work, or how certain things transpire, or how certain things act, or how certain things behave. Ashe. So now, check this out. Words that we use to label and describe how certain things operate. What are the literal meaning of the words that we are using to label and describe how certain things would operate? You follow what I'm saying? Certain words we use. We just use these tools, but don't even know the meaning or the proper function of these tools that we're using, meaning words. Because in my opinion, because of how I use words and how I personally see words, words are tools. The way I see words, words are tools. Tools that have instructions as to how they can be used. This is how I see words in a parable sense, if you follow what I'm saying thus far. So, words like hate. Remember this video right here. I want to see if I can get this concept here started. To snatch the hatred out of every man, woman, and child on this planet's hearts and burn it right in front of your very eyes. This is what this video is for. I'm going to say that again. I desire to snatch the hatred out of your very hearts and burn them right in front of your very eyes, with no pity, no remorse, no regret whatsoever at all. Why? Because I do not desire to live the way you all desire me to live, surrounded by hatred. So I'm going to make this video right here to hopefully someday begin the process of snatching the hatred out of your heart and burning it right in front of your very eyes, with no pity, remorse, or regret at all whatsoever. Moving forward, though, here's why I say hate is a metaphor. Now, we got words, right? The literal meaning of words. What are the literal meaning of words? We need to know the literal meaning of every word that we're using as we're using them, if you follow what I'm saying. We need to stop just tossing words out here and not even knowing what they're meaning. Because you say things like hatred is a strong word. In reality, no, it isn't. Hatred is a metaphorical word. It really is. And I'm really going to explain this. Give me a second. I just want to throw some more words out here to give the full explanation and even stronger landing. Moving forward, though. That's pretty much my primary objective right there, to snatch the hatred out of your hearts. And I'm going to tell you why right now. And now remember, the enemy, one of its primary things that it wants are these three things: live, suffer, die. Live, suffer, die. Remember, the enemy is a problem and a solution simultaneously. How is the enemy a solution? Because it wants you to live. The enemy is a solution because it wants you to live, but that's it right there. It only wants you to live for you to suffer and die. Just keep this in mind as I'm going on. The enemy only wants you to live, solution, so you can have a problem, suffering and dying. We do not need to suffer, nor are we even supposed to be dying. Do you see? We are just supposed to be living, the first one, solution. We don't need the other two. The enemy wants us to have the other two with our living. So we have to reject everything the enemy wants, all of it. Suffering and dying need to be ended. No more suffering, no more dying. Just live. Peace, love, unity, and advancement to you all. Moving forward, though, hatred is a metaphor. I'm going to explain how now. Now, after I said all of that, I'm going to lead to this now. We need to use the literal meaning of the words, or we need to know the literal meaning of the words. We need to have the knowledge of knowledge. What does the word knowledge mean? Knowledge means facts, information, and skills gathered. Facts, information, and skills gathered. Gather the facts and information and skills on certain words that you are using, so you can literally know how they work or how to apply them. Now, hate. The word hate. What does the word hate literally mean, so we can figure out how it can actually be, how it is actually metaphorical? Check this out. The word hate defines as feel. Right there. Should tell you where I'm going off the muscle, because I desire to give the entire world emotional defense. Everything about my king, I desire to be like. I desire to be like Yeshua in every way, shape, form, or imagination. Aside from what his name means, Yahweh is salvation. No, he is just the salvation, period. Yeshua is your Jesus is just the salvation, period. The person who the names refer to, that is what I'm talking about. Not the meaning of the names, because all of those names that my king has some really crooked backgrounds to them. So I just want to refer to the person itself. The literal king himself is the salvation. The spirit of balance is salvation, period. Not me, not my conviction, himself. He himself is the salvation. I'm just going to say some things out loud so I personally can get to salvation. Oh yeah, and everybody else too. I'm just joking. Well, not really. Moving forward though. Hatred is a metaphor. Fear is also too a metaphor. We already proved that a while ago in my video known as The Principles of Quelling Fear. Go check that out. Moving forward. The word hate defines as feel intense or passionate dislike for. That's it. That's all the word hate defines as. It literally defines as feel. It just starts like that. It just starts off like that. It just starts off saying feel. intense or passionate dislike for. And then at the end, or in quotation or in parentheses, someone. That's just one of the many definitions of it, though. But the more you study the word, and the more you dissect it, and the more you comprehend what even the words inside of the words mean, even the words inside of the definition of what they mean, the more you'll realize how much it actually connects to a metaphorical sense, if that makes sense to you. Moving forward, though. So, hate defines as feel intense or passionate dislike for. Period. Or just no period right there, just in parentheses word someone, because it could be anyone. Feel intense or passionate dislike for someone. Intense or passionate dislike. Intense or passionate dislike. Feel. You have to feel intense or passionate dislike. You have to feel that. Okay, then, remember, what are the literal meanings of these words we are using? What is the meaning of the word feel? Remember, this is also emotional defense right here. I desire to provide emotional defense. I desire to provide mental defense. I desire to provide physical defense. Want to know why? Because that's what my king does. My king is the provision of balance, knowledge, and protection. That is what the king is the provider of. He provides balance, knowledge, and protection, or balance, awareness, and protection, or upright and steadiness, perception, and defense. Many different names, one method of operation. Ensure that you live correctly is what my king does. You should lean on him. Bill Withers song, right? Yeah, he got a power in your head right there. He always been there for you. Never left. You just forgot because something made you. Moving forward. Hate is a metaphor. Let's keep explaining why. So feel. What is a feel? What is the literal meaning of feel? A state of emotion. A state of emotion? What does that mean? Physical state that your body is in. Or an internal, non-physical state that your non-physical power is in. Check this out. So a feel is a state of emotion. That is what that is. A feeling is a quality or state of emotion. That's what a feeling is. Or a feel is just a state of emotion, right? Now peep this. The literal meaning of words. You got the state. The state is the physical you or the non-physical you. The non-physical of you, what kind of status you're in non-physically, or what kind of status you're in physically. That is what a state can be. That's what a state is. Now, a state of emotion, though, right? Follow this for a second, if you would. State of emotion. Okay. The literal meaning of the words we are using here. What are the literal meanings of the words we are using here? Therefore, what is an emotion now? What is an emotion? Before I go on, I'm going to provide some more emotional defense by saying this. Nothing outside of you is responsible for the way you feel. Nothing outside of you is responsible for the way you feel. Nothing is. Nothing at all. Nothing. Because the beautiful part is, what you actually feel is different than what you feel like you think they feel. If that makes sense to you. You know what I mean? What you feel is different than what you feel like is different, actually literally more different than what you feel truly. Because here's the reality. Is something attacking you right now physically? No. So that means you don't feel anything physically attacking you. Is something attacking you non-physically? Is there a mental conflicts going on? You bet your butt it is. Want to know why? Because the world makes sure you would have that. That's why they keep overwhelmingly brainwashing us and programming us. If we just had a moment to pull away from the darkness, pull away from the madness, and pull away from it all, our brains would heal. They would heal and balance out. I really look forward to introducing y'all to this good brother of mine, because we just had a conversation about this earlier, about how if our brains pull away from the darkness and the madness for a moment or two, they would just balance out, naturally heal on their own. I would like for him to share that story about the woman who tried the game. I want him to share that story when I introduce you to him. This is a really good brother, and y'all would enjoy this brother, to hear his words, hear his knowledge, hear his wisdom is what I mean. That's all. Moving forward though, hate is a metaphor. Let me tell you why. I guess I'm hungry, huh? In case if you hear that noise. Moving forward though, hate is a metaphor. So a feel, state of emotion. Emotion. What is the literal meaning of an emotion? Remember, nothing outside of you is responsible for the way you feel. Nothing outside of you has control over your emotions. Nothing does. Do not allow it to. It's up to you. It's up to how you decide to think your emotions, or think for yourself, or think for your behavior. You follow what I'm saying? Moving forward. Nothing outside of you is in control of your emotions. Only you are. Only you decide how your emotions are going to be. Long story short. Moving forward now. Hate is a metaphor. What is an emotion? What are these words that we're using? What are the literal meanings of these words we're using? What are the literal meanings of them? So what is an emotion? An emotion is a natural, instinctive state of mind. Before I move forward, though, let's stop right there. Now, that's just a portion of the definition of the word emotion. Now, here's the full one. The first portion of it is just a natural, instinctive state of mind. Now, just keep that in mind for a second, and also keep this in mind. Nothing outside of you is responsible for the way you feel. Only you are. Nothing outside of you is responsible. Nothing outside of you has control over your emotions. Only you do. Be powerful with them. They're yours. Lean on them. They came from a really great place. Learn about it. Knowledge of the soul's truth. That's what this is. Moving forward. Now, an emotion, its full definition, it defines as a natural, instinctive state of mind deriving from one's own mood, meaning your physical flesh, one's own circumstances, meaning your surroundings, what's going on in your world, or your relationship with others. Once again, an emotion literally defines, or here's one of the definitions you can use for the word emotion, for the literal word emotion, the words we are using to label and describe how hate is metaphor. The word emotion defines as a natural, instinctive state of mind. So that means your non-physical status of self, your non-physical state of mind. Your mind is a part of you, right? Check this out. Your natural instinctive state of mind deriving from. This is what the definition of emotion is from the world today. Let's not forget, everything came from the enemy. Problem, solution, lie, truth, beginning, ending. All of that came from the enemy. Poison, potion, yes, no. You can have this, but you can't have this. You can use this, but you can't use this. Keep that in mind for a second. You can use this, but you can't use this. Now, natural instinctive state of mind. The enemy gave this definition. The enemy gave us this definition. I'm going to tell you what I mean in a second. Deriving from one's own mood, meaning where your physical, emotional body, what your physical flesh is putting into your spirit. You follow what I'm saying? Nothing outside of you is in control of you. Just remember that. Not even this vessel of yours is in control, really, of the spirit and the soul. Only the spirit and the soul is in control of the spirit and the soul. The soul is unhurt, unstruck, and unbeaten. Anahata. Remember that for a second, right? Now, Natural instinctive state of mind deriving from, this is what the definition of emotion is from the world, deriving from one's own mood, circumstances, or relationship with others. All three of those are external things. Nothing outside of you has control over your spirit and soul, meaning the power inside of you. Nothing outside of you at all has the ability to control those powers there. Nothing does. They are untouched. Always good and good only. As I said, you only have one good feeling. That is it. Now let's start going back so we can reconnect the dots and get the spiritual infrastructure or the concept of how hate is a metaphor more solidified. Snatch it out of your hearts and burn it in front of your eyes. Hate ain't even real. It ain't even real. Stop doing it in front of me because I don't want to hate. I keep telling you all I don't want to hate. And I'm going to stop you all from making me want to hate. Because what the real meaning of hate is all the way throughout with the passionate word and everything. But let's roll back. So let's just verify for a second that your natural instinctive state of mind is good all the time. Your natural instinctive state of mind was never hurt, struck, or beaten. Your natural instinctive state of mind associates only with balance, calmness, and serenity. Only with balance, calmness, and serenity. Your natural instinctive state of mind, your natural non-physical status of self, that part of you is unhurt, unstruck, unbeaten. It never was touched, never was damaged, never can be influenced to be anything else. Everything else is in your head with an imbalanced mind because that demon wanted your mind to be imbalanced, period. Moving forward, though. So let's pull it back so we can lock it up good and snatch more of it out and burn it in front of your eyes. You're going to stop hating me. You're going to stop making me hate. I don't want hate around me. I don't want it around me. I'm going to get rid of it. Just going to try something. Maybe this will help. It ain't real. Stop doing it. Especially in front of me. So now, since we know that for a solid guaranteed fact, that our feeling, our true honest to God, literal honest to God feeling cannot be anything other than good. Cannot be anything other than good. Balance, calmness, serenity. Balance, calmness, serenity. Our feeling cannot be anything other than that. If you notice what's going on in your reality currently, just think about it, man. Now that we know that, how can you honestly have an intense feeling? Because to have an intense feeling or a passionate feeling is to have a different feeling other than what's good, balance, calm, or in serenity or tranquility, which your heart is always in. This is why it's metaphorical. You can't even hate. Not literally. Something has to influence you to hate. Now, this is where I was getting at with the problem and solution part. Something has to influence you to hate. You have to be told to hate. You have to be sent through war, manipulation, curses, night and day control, night and day lying, night and day manipulation, night and day enmity, eliciting, night and day, right? Moving forward. So, hate is to feel intense or passionate dislike for something. Now watch this. You can't literally hate because you literally cannot have an intense feel of passionate dislike. You can't have that. It's impossible for your anahata to have that kind of feeling. It's impossible for your literal emotion to have that kind of feeling. It's all in your head. Just like fear. Remember the definition of fear? An unpleasant emotion caused by the belief. What is a belief? What is the literal meaning of a belief? The acceptance that a statement is true. Now, check this out. What is passion? Passion is a loss of emotional control. What happens when you lose control of that good? It can become something different, right? Think about it. Now, once you lose control of your emotions, what happens? You could be made to do anything different. You can be made to do something stupid, or you can have outbursts, which passion actually is. Passion is actually an outburst of enthusiasm, but it's also a loss of emotional control, because here's the thing: you're not stoic anymore. You're not within your frame. You're not withholding. You're all over the place. You're like a sissy boy, in other words. You're feminine. In other words, when you don't have control of your emotions, you're feminine a little bit. You got a little feminine in you. You need to get that out of you. How do you get it out of you? Think better. Control yourself. Remain stoic. Until we can do more. Bitter in thy belly season, right? It's all the same message. I just got more things to say. Moving forward, though. Hate is a metaphor. Problem solution. This is what I wanted to say. When you look at the full definition of hate, since it has to be influenced upon you, you have to be influenced to hate, meaning someone has to give you something to hate. Why we got hatred? Why is there so much hate in the world? Why is that? Why is there so many things to hate? There shouldn't be anything to hate. We should always be standing on solutions and love, right? Right? I say, I agree. Just love. We don't need nothing else but love. Moving forward, though, let's not forget the enemy is a very jealous entity. So whatever you got, it don't want you to have it, because it wants you to have what it wants you to have. Something opposite of what you got. You got love naturally because you're literally good naturally. So the enemy needs you to have opposites of love in your heart, or at least convince you or trick you that you do. But you don't. It's impossible. So now it forces us night and day by attacking us and making us suffer in order to go through and have that state of emotion or that state of desire. Even though it's impossible, it will still drill in night and day nonstop and make your life a living torture run in order for you to elicit it or provoke it from you, or to give rise to it into someone else or from someone else. Give rise to that desire in someone else. Surround people with it. Attack them, barricade them with it. You see, you become the average of the 5 people you associate with most. Y'all are going to become me. I'm going to be the average. I'm not hating. You're not going to make me hate you. You're not going to do that. So here's the thing, though. Y'all familiar with the whole concept of hate speeches, right? How the enemy wants to eliminate your desire to speak on hatred. In other words, give it to you, but don't give you the chance to use it. Suffer peacefully, Malcolm X. See where I'm going? You know, when I actually did more research on what the word hate actually meant, it means to be provoked into suffering to death. That's what the word hate literally means, to be provoked into suffering to death. That's what the word hate means. What does the enemy want us to do primarily? 3 things. Only live, to suffer, and die. That is it. That's all this government wants for us, are those 3 things. Live, to suffer, and die. That is it. And if you don't like the second part, you can just take the third part early. Be a good slave or die. Right? Burn it down, please. Hate is a metaphor. The enemy wants us to suffer peacefully for the rest of our existence. Malcolm X. That's how. By giving us so many reasons to hate, but then telling us we can't speak about it or do anything about it. Just go through it. Just keep going through it. Don't stop. You things, you people, you ugly person. Feminine energy is very hateful, especially when used in the wrong hands. But why do you spiritual people say that the feminine energy is taking over us? It is not. There is no gender in this power. It is just the ability to do something or act in a particular way, especially as a faculty or quality. That's all it is. There is no feminine, no masculine, none of that. None of that at all. It's just power that gives us the ability to do something or act in a particular way, especially as a faculty or quality. Hate is a metaphor. That's why. You can't even have an intense feeling of dislike or passion for someone, or a passionate dislike for something. You can't even have that naturally. You can be influenced to have it, especially if someone's bombarding you to have it night and day, but you can't spiritually or soulfully have negative emotions inside of you. You can't. Be aware of that and how that's actually a true statement or true fact. Bring your spirits up and stop letting the enemy keep them low. Be lifted in the spirit, not be lessed. It ain't about a competition with me. It's about the awareness and knowledge of what needs to be stopped. I don't desire to be your king or your leader. I only desire to defend and protect you. Therefore, love your neighbors, you love yourself, and defend your neighbors, you defend yourself. What does the word defend mean? To protect from harm or danger. You want to know what it takes to put hatred in someone, harm, or danger. Protect them from it, so you can stop people from having hatred around you. Somehow. Maybe just talk about it first, right? Moving forward to the ending of the video. If you made it this far, you just learned something new, and I appreciate you. Now get rid of your hatred, because once I meet you, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to take it right in front of you. I'm going to mess up my ending line. I'm going to take it right from you and snatch it out of you and burn it from your eyes. Burn it in front of your eyes. Yeah, I'm working on that. I'm working on things. Be lifted in the spirit and walk good forever. Peace, love, unity, and advancement to you all, my family.